Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 2022 Dixie Boys and Junior State Tournament. First pitch on the way here, and that's going to be high for ball one. Now, this game between Latta and Mohawk is a resumption from the game last night. We got a little bit of rain. Looks like we might have some condensation coming in today again. That ball is dribbled into play down the third base line. Pitcher picks it up. He fires it to first, and he's out at first. Great play by the pitcher to bounce off the mound. Trey Briscoe back on the mound this morning. He bounces off the mound and fields the ball barehanded, throws a rifle to first, and gets him out at first. And that's going to bring up Adrian McDonald. But like I was saying, this matchup between Mohawk and Latta was started yesterday, and we got some rain, and now we're resuming the game. So we are in the bottom of the third inning. The score is 0-0. The first pitch to McDonald, and that's high, called for a ball. Said he held up there. The winner of this game is going to go on to play Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. And the loser is going to, and that's in for a strike. Brings count to 1-1. The loser is going to play at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock. That is as long as we don't get any more rain and we don't have to push this tournament back at all. And the next pitch is across for a strike, and Trey Briscoe is picking up right where he left off yesterday. He is really grooving out there. And that brings count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 pitch. And that's bounced foul down the first base line. Coach had dodged the ball a little bit. We've got a lot of moisture in the air today, folks. We've had to open up all the windows in the press box, so we're really hoping we don't get a foul ball straight through one of these windows here, because we cannot move that quickly in this tight space up here. And that's fouled off near the hands. And the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Adrian McDonald, if you remember, he's our 3-point contest champion. And that took place on Friday night when all the teams arrived. I'm shuffling through my papers here, and they are very flimsy just because there's so much water in the air. And that's a ball back to the pitcher. He fields it. He throws it to first. He bobbled the ball a little bit, but that was a well-hit ball back up the middle. But Trey Briscoe shows his resolve as he fields that ball, picks it up off the ground, and throws it to first for the out. Trey Briscoe is helping himself out here. And he has 2 outs in the bottom of the third. And that brings up the top of the lineup, catcher Ryan Parrott. That first pitch looked like a slider. Does not quite catch the edge of the plate, and that's going to be in for ball 1. Brings count to 1 ball and no strikes. That pitch is right in there for strike 1.
Here's a poke out of center field. Dakota Cornelius, the center fielder for Sumner, will track it easy.
The 1-1 pitch on the way. That's swung on for a strike. And that brings count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And this is quite incredible that Trey Briscoe is able to come out here. And that's swung on for strike 3. That's 3 up, 3 down for Trey Briscoe after the long day break. We're going to go into the 4th inning when we come back on the Beaufort County Channel. And welcome back to the County Channel in the game between Mohawk and Latta. And as I said earlier, a ball almost flew into the press box with the windows open. I knew that was going to happen today because we had to play. We're having to play with the windows open here. Thankfully, it wasn't on our field. It was on field 2, so we were in the safe zone. But our counterparts over on field 2 were very close to danger there. And that ball is high and away for ball 1. Back out on the mound, we have Caden Lee after he threw 58 pitches yesterday. 52 pitches, excuse me. And that pitch is outside for ball 2. He threw 52 pitches yesterday, and that is very tough to come back. I am absolutely astounded that Trey Briscoe was able to be as efficient as he was after that really long delay and coming back the next morning and throwing. And that pitch is outside for ball 3. Caden's going to ask for a new ball here, and I really think that's going to make a difference here. It also looks like Caden might be pitching with sunglasses on out there. We have quite overcast skies. We actually have the lights turned on here at the field, and he's pitching with shades on out there. So, wondering if that has any effect on the way he's throwing. And that ball is high. He's going to take his base there. And that was the leadoff man.
Next up to bat, Mohawk second.
That was Judd DeSell. Judd DeSell is now aboard on first with a 4-pitch walk. And that's going to bring up the second baseman, number 18, Luke Jervey, whose favorite song is Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. And when he grows up, he wants to be a heart doctor. A cardiologist, if you will. And that is the study of the heart, a doctor of the heart. In his free time, he enjoys sports. The first pitch is in for a strike after an attempted pickoff to first. He fires a strike in the zone, and I'm wondering if now that he's working out of the stretch, that might help him out a little bit here. He might be able to find the zone. If he gets a little ground ball up the middle, that could be 2, and that's going to be a ground ball to the second baseman. He's not going to have enough time to go to second. He's going to fire it to first, and he's out at first on a 4-3 fielder's choice.
Now up to bat.
And that advances Judd DeSell over to second. So Luke Jervey does his job and moves the runner over into scoring position as we are locked 0-0 in this battle. After the fielder's choice, that's going to bring up the catcher, number 12, Braden Gross. The first pitch is in the dirt for ball 1, and Ryan Parrott is running after the ball, and he stumbles a little bit. Not quite sure what he stepped on there. He took his mask off. I'm wondering if maybe he stepped on his mask. And I must make an apology here, folks. That is not Braden Gross. That is going to be number 7, John Michael Creech, who has entered the game. John Michael Creech has now entered the game, and he is hitting in the place of Braden Gross. So John Michael Creech is up in the count right now, 1 ball and no strikes, as the runner advances from second to third on that last pitch. Caden Lee steps off the mound there, checks his runner at third. He's going to come set, and the throw to home is high and outside for ball 1. Caden Lee just doesn't quite look the same as he did last night. He was in spectacular form last night as he was just pounding the zone and getting strikes. And now he's struggling to find it here. He just needs to settle in and throw some strikes, and that's going to be ball 3. That brings the count to 3-0. A 3-0 pitch. And that's across for strike 1 to John Michael Creech. John Michael Creech's favorite food is steak, and his favorite movie is Minions: The Rise of Gru. And that's fouled off for a strike. And that brings the count to 3-2. As they get this ball back in. I wonder if he's gonna watch that new Minions movie when it comes out, the one with the young Gru. And that ball is in there, swung on for strike 3 as John Michael Creech is struck out with a great battle back into that count by Caden Lee. And that's gonna bring up the top of the lineup with the third baseman, number 45, Ryan Bolus. Rylan Bolus enjoys eating cheeseburgers and watching Beavis and Butthead do America. And that ball is fouled down the third base line, right between the on-deck batter and the coach. His favorite pro baseball team is the Los Angeles Dodgers, and his favorite sports idol is Fernando Tatis Jr. I think the only difference between Rylan and Fernando is the hairstyle they have. That ball is outside. Brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. I'll remind you again that these teams had a very long break. The game last night was scheduled to start at 3 o'clock. We started right around 3. And that's low for ball 2. Brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. We started the game last night around 3. We got in 2.5 innings. We were in halfway through the third. When the rain really started coming down, we had a couple of lightning strikes right in the area. And the fields were just, unfortunately, too unplayable at that point after the rain we got the day before and yesterday. That pitch is across. That's an off-speed pitch. Beautiful bender by Caden Lee for strike 2. That brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. As Rylan Bolus digs back into the plate. 2-2 pitch on the way. He tries the off-speed again and just doesn't quite get it. And that's going to be ball 3. That brings the count to 3-2 with 2 outs and a runner on third. This is a very important pitch here for Caden Lee. If he can put it across the plate, maybe get a little ground ball over to the right side. And that's going to be outside for ball 4. Rylan is going to take his base. Caden Lee is working really hard out here. And after that walk, that's going to bring up the shortstop, number 4, Austin Rodis.
Sanders is a chicken nuggets fan, and Mookie Betts is his favorite player. Here's Coach Sanders outside again for ball 3.
Austin Rodis enjoys eating pizza, and his favorite movie is Benchwarmers.
I like his favorite song.
His favorite sports idol is LeBron James. And that ball is hit on the right side, and that's going to bring across the first run of the game. Runner is rounding third. The coach is sending him home. The ball is into the second baseman. It's going to be a throw home. The play at the plate. He's safe. He's safe. As the shortstop, the second baseman just couldn't quite get the ball there. And that's going to score 2 runs. Mohawk jumps out to a 2-0 lead. Ball's back in the pitcher. They got a time called, and the pitcher's going to grab the ball from the umpire. And after the hit, Austin Rodis advanced to second on the throw. So he was able to go from first to second on the throw after the 2 RBI single. And Ryan Bolus, let me tell you, was just absolutely flying around the base pads. He was chugging with his entire being around third. And he had a beautiful slide and play at the plate. And it really paid off for him as he scores. And the score is now 2-0 Mohawk. We got 2 outs with a runner on second. Runner on second is taking his lead, and he's clapping at the pitcher. And that ball is fouled back. That's going to go over the press box. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. We are safe. That is not going to come through our window. And now at the plate is the pitcher number 3, Trey Briscoe. Trey Briscoe enjoys eating chicken wings and watching Major League. And that pitch is outside for ball 1. That brings the count to 1-1. His favorite song is Next Song by Da Baby. Not Lil Baby, Da Baby. And that's low for ball 2. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. As the runner on second, Austin Rodis is getting quite aggressive with his lead, and he is still clapping at the pitcher. He is just taking his lead and steadily clapping. And that pitch is outside part of the plate for a strike, and that brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Austin Rodis is taking his time getting back to the base after the pitch is thrown. He has ceased the clapping. And Caden Lee tries the off-speed pitch. Doesn't quite get it. That brings the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner on second. This is another very important pitch. Austin Rodis has picked up his clapping again. Time is called by the umpire as Austin Rodis makes his way from second to third on a balk After he rounds third, you guessed it, he is clapping. Frantically, he is clapping. He has not stopped clapping since he touched third. We now have a 3-2 pitch as Caden Lee comes set. The clapping is still going. That's high and outside for ball 4. I wonder if the clapping actually has an effect on Caden Lee here. Caden Lee walks him. Trey Briscoe makes his way to first. We've got a runner on first and third as Thomas Donadio, the right fielder, number 27, comes up to the plate. Thomas Donadio enjoys eating spaghetti, and I was informed this morning that he no longer has a favorite movie. He has no favorite movie, and his favorite pro baseball team is the New York Yankees. And his favorite sports idol is Derek Jeter. Maybe his new favorite movie can be the documentary that they are making on Derek Jeter. I think that's a good idea. And that's a pickoff move to first. Not in time. The ball gets past the first baseman down to the fence. That's going to score a run. As the runner from first goes and rounds second, the ball comes back in. And that's going to bring the score to 3-0 in Mohawk's favor. And there's going to be a runner on second with 2 outs. And that umpire calls the runner back. And he's having a conversation with the third base coach. Makes me wonder if the umpire was saying anything about the clapping that was going on that Austin Rodis was doing. He was doing a whole lot of clapping. And now we've got a runner on second with 2 outs. The pitch is high and away for ball. And Austin Rodis, I think that ball that he threw into the outfield, the ball that he tried to pick off with, went out into the grass a little bit. And like I said, there's a lot of condensation in the air, and the grass is quite wet out there. So anytime the ball touches the grass out there, you're going to want a new one. And that ball got to the right fielder. So he gets a new ball in play here. And that was a much better pitch. It was a little bit low and inside for a ball, and that brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes. Caden Lee is throwing a lot of pitches here. I would imagine that if he gets out of this one, and that's a strike, brings the count to 2-1. If he gets out of this inning, I would have a hard time imagining that he's going to come back on the mound next half. But that's okay. If he can keep the lead to 3-0, that's really not that much. And that ball is right down the middle for strike 2. That brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Thomas Donadio, who has no favorite song or band. And the 2-2 pitch, that is chopped foul as KJ Griffin fields the ball in the on-deck circle and fires it back to the pitcher. It's a good play by KJ. Makes you wonder why he's the DH. That leaves the count at 2-2 with 2 outs. That's swung on and missed as Ryan Parrott fields the ball out of the dirt and throws it to first. And that's 3 outs, but not before Mohawk scores 3 runs as we go to the bottom of the 4th. This is the Beaufort County Channel. Back as we go into the bottom half of the fourth inning. For Latta, we have the pitcher, Caden Lee, leading off the inning here. And let's see if he can do something, help himself out on the mound a little bit. And that pitch crosses for ball one. That's going to bring the count to 1 ball and no strikes.
1-2 pitch about to come from Pack.
Caden Lee enjoys playing Rocket League. As he swings at that pitch. That brings the count to 1-1, evens it up. Third base coach gives him a little bit of coaching. He did pull his front leg out a little bit on his swing, and that's exactly what the third base coach. Good catch by the third base coach. And that comes across as a strike right down the middle. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Earlier in the game, Caden did ground out to the second baseman as he lifts one out to the left side, and that's going to drop foul behind a tree, so I cannot see where it landed. But it landed over near our concession stand trailer where we keep all of our stuff, and all the grounds crew keeps all their equipment. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitch, that's lifted up to the left side. Shortstop's going back. He calls the ball, and he's going to make the catch. That's Austin Rodis with the catch. However, he does not clap after he made that catch. He did not clap. And after that catch, that's going to bring up the shortstop, number 18, Reese Rouse. Reese Rouse walked earlier in the game. That was going to be yesterday. Yesterday he walked as he swings at the first pitch. That was a good off-speed pitch by Trey Briscoe. And that brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. The next pitch comes in high and outside for a ball. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. As Reese Rouse doesn't even back out of the box, he is ready to swing. And swing he does at a pitch that is high and inside for a strike. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. An off-speed pitch is swung and missed, and the catcher picks the ball up out of the dirt and throws it to first. The catcher really could have picked that ball up and tagged Reese Rouse because he looked kind of defeated after he swung at that pitch, and he didn't really have much interest in running to first. The catcher almost almost accidentally tagged him to try and get around him, and instead threw it to first. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Brian Berry. And that comes right down the middle for strike 1. That brings the count to 1 ball, no balls, and 1 strike. Sorry, I messed that one up. I got a little distracted. We have a bird that landed on the fence right in front of me, and that just really caught my attention. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. I think that's a raven that landed right on top of that fence. Quoth the raven, nevermore. That is fouled off, and now it landed right on top of the press box, right in front of us. Sorry, that bird was really distracting. He's gone now, so I should be good. That ball was fouled off out of play over on the right side down the first base line. That brings count to 1 ball and 2 strikes to Brian Berry. Brian Berry. I think it was a crow, not a raven. And that comes across for strike 3 looking. That's going to be 3 outs as we go to the 5th inning. Mohawk leads 3-0. This is the Beaufort County Channel. welcome back as we get Mohawk back up to the plate here. That's going to be fouled off by KJ Griffin. KJ Griffin is leading off the inning for Mohawk in the top of the fifth. Back out on the mound is Caden Lee. He is powering through. That was a good pitch they just threw. Next pitch is in the dirt. That bounced well in front of the plate. And if we are counting on the bounce, that would have been a very good pitch. But unfortunately, it has to cross in the air. And that's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. That pitch is outside for ball 2. And after a great start to the inning, Caden Lee has 2 pitches that were not the best. And that's low and away for ball 3. Caden Lee looks very nonchalant out there, gonna be honest. Looks like he's not pitching with much conviction here. Let's see what he does with 3-1 pitch. It's gonna be outside for ball 4. KJ is gonna make his way to first. And that's gonna bring up the center fielder, number 6, Cullen Seitler. Now, Cullen Seitler hit a line drive to the shortstop before the rain delay. And Cullen's going to be swinging from the left side. So we've got a lefty-on-lefty matchup here. His favorite song is Upchurch by Real Country. And he's going to lay down a beautiful bunt. Catcher's going to field it and throw it to first to get the out. But that does the job perfectly as Cullen Seitler lays down a sac bunt to move KJ Griffin over from first to second. And that's going to bring up the left fielder, number 13, Judd DeSell. Now, Judd struck out earlier in the game. And he did something else in his last at-bat that I don't quite remember. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But his favorite band is Lil Tecca. And that crosses inside for ball 1. And I'm going to be honest, I thought Lil Tecca was a city in Mexico. But I guess it is also an artist. If I had to guess, it is of the hip-hop or rap genre. And that pitch is low for ball 2. That brings a count to 2 balls and no strikes. Other than baseball, Judd enjoys playing football. In his free time, he likes fishing, hunting, and riding 4-wheelers. It's a country boy. 2-0 pitch is in there for strike 1 as Ryan Parrott fakes the throw to second base on the back pick. And KJ does some clapping of his own over there at second as he takes his lead. Very short lead off of second. And he just gives 1 clap on his lead. Big secondary. As that ball is lifted down the left field line, that's going to drop foul as the left fielder was running very hard. I thought he was going to run into the fence there, but he did not. And that ball is out of play for strike 2. That brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes to Judd DeSell. When he grows up, he wants to be a marine biologist. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 out here. Runner on second. That's a great off-speed pitch. Catches the outside part of the plate for strike 3 looking. That's going to be 2 outs. And with that strikeout, that's going to bring up the second baseman, number 18, Luke Jervey. Luke Jervey enjoys eating crab legs and watching the movie Sandlot. That's going to be a pickoff move to second. Unsuccessfully, the ball almost got away from the second baseman. But no worries, he kept it in front of him. And that's going to keep the runner at second, KJ Griffin. Luke Jervey is flied out to the left fielder. As he hits one on the ground to the third baseman, who is a human vacuum over there. Fires it over to first perfectly. No one surprised there. And that leaves the score 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Here on the Beaufort County Channel. That ball is lifted foul down the first base line. Leading off the inning for Latta here is going to be J.P. Bly, who is playing center field. J.P. enjoys drawing and fishing, and when he grows up, he wants to be a P.E. teacher. That ball is chopped to the shortstop. He's going to field the ball, throw it to first. Great arm as J.P. Bly was flying down the line. But the shortstop, Austin Rodis, shows off the cannon as he gets him out at first for the first out of the inning for Mohawk. As the pitcher, Trey Briscoe, is going to ask for a new baseball. And after that ground out, that's going to bring up the second baseman, Heath Mew. Heath Mew, second baseman, is now batting for Latta.
Discount for Camden Abercrombie, 22.
As he fouls that one off behind the fence here for strike one. That brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. That ball is lifted in the air to center. That's going to fall in for a single as Heath Mew is just having a great tournament so far. And after the single, that's going to bring up the third baseman, Logan Bird.
Third baseman, number 23, Logan Bird.
Logan Bird, as I've mentioned, is just having an outstanding defensive game. I've seen him play both games so far, and he has not missed a single play at third. He has had a few opportunities, and he has not missed a single play. And as a former third baseman, I can appreciate good third base play. As a pickoff move to first is unsuccessful, as Mew dives back to the base. We've got a 0-0 count with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th with a runner on first. Logan Bird up to bat, rocking the pink batting gloves. And that first pitch looks like a slider across the plate for a strike. That brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. Logan Bird, that was a good take there. You don't want to swing at a first pitch off speed. That's pretty tough unless you know you can absolutely hammer it. And this bird is back. I think it's antagonizing some fans down there. I saw it flying around some people's heads, and I don't know what it's doing here, but that bird really just needs to go home. Not the bird that's at the plate, but an actual bird with wings. And that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 2. It's no balls and 2 strikes. I just realized that as I was talking about the bird, there is a bird at the plate, but no, I'm talking about a bird with feathers and wings. It was flying around some fans' heads down there. Let's see if Logan Bird can go big fly here and make something happen for Latta. We've got some space out in the outfield. That right fielder is playing quite over towards the line. If he pokes one out to the right center field, he could have a chance to do something here. And that pitch is outside for a ball. That was a good miss by the pitcher, Trey Briscoe. But unfortunately, it was a little bit too outside, even though he did hit his spot that the catcher was asking him for. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled back. Heads up. And the umpire turns around and asks us for some baseballs. So we're going to get someone, hopefully, to run some baseballs down to him. That count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pickoff move to first, not in time, as Mew dives back once again on this dirt that's really going to cling to the jersey today. It's going to cling to the jersey and weigh you down a little bit. And that ball is lifted high, deep to left center field, and that's going to get out of here. That's a 2-run bomb by Logan Bird. And he goes big fly, as I was talking about. He is pumped up as he rounds third. That's the magic of the pink batting gloves, and he rocks the baby as he comes across and scores. And what a game changer. What a game changer. That's a way to bring your team back into the game there by Logan Bird. 1 swing changes the whole dynamic of the game. That's going to be a 2-3 ball game. Ladies and gentlemen, it is getting exciting here on Field 3, the Leo Vanoni Memorial Field, as we have emotions running high. The third base coach, came almost all the way to the plate to talk to his team, to calm them down and get them back into the dugout. That's a great job by the Latta coach to make sure that his kids remain within themselves and not start running their mouths or anything to the other team. And now we have a time called as the coach has a meeting on the mound. Looks like we may have a pitching change. I am not quite sure. No, he is going to leave Trey Briscoe in, which at this point in the game, I don't know why you would change him. That's the first mistake he's made so far this game. And honestly, it wasn't even really a mistake. That was just a great piece of hitting by Logan Bird. And after that home run, that's going to bring up Zach Lane, the right fielder, hitting in the 8 hole. Let's see if he can get things started back up again. That's going to be fouled off at the plate. That's going to bring count to no balls and 1 strike. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the first home run on field 3 here in the tournament. Logan Bird has hit the first home run on field 3 of this weekend tournament. We have Gary running down to give the umpire some baseballs there. So we had a little pause in the action there as the umpire gets more baseballs.
Cut in this deficit. Very evenly matched game here between the two teams. Next pitch is blown outside of ball 2.
And that pitch is high for a ball. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. And we have some equipment difficulties here with our umpire. Maybe he has some dirt in his eye, I think. He's wiping his face with a rag. I think he might have some dirt in his eye. We got to take a little pause in the action here as we get this figured out. First base coach is now bringing him another baseball. So I think we've got plenty of baseballs there. And we're trying to track down. We're going to try and track down that baseball that was hit so that we can put it in a shadow box and present it to Logan Bird after the game is over. And that one's fouled off for another strike, and that's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And that swung on and missed for strike 3 by Zach Lane. And that's going to be 2 outs here. And after that strikeout, that's going to bring up the left fielder, number 5, Adrian McDonald. Logan Bird is just having a whale of a tournament. And I'm wondering if me talking about all these birds flying around and the fact that we have so many birds flying around, maybe that was a little bit of foreshadowing. And that pitch comes across as a strike right down the middle. Adrian McDonald really just wanted to get his timing down on that one. That's going to be no balls and 1 strike. That pitch is chopped right back to Trey Briscoe. He takes his time, nonchalantly flips it over to first. But not after the exciting 2-run home run by Logan Bird. As we head into the top half of the 6th inning with a score 3-2, Mohawk leads coming to the plate when we come back on the Beaufort County Channel.
Gross.
Here's the 0-2 pitch from Abercrombie. Swung on and miss for a strikeout. So quickly, 2 up.
Welcome back here as Mohawk is coming to the plate. Batting for Mohawk is going to be number 12, Braden Gross. That pitch comes in. That's fouled off. He squared around to bunt, but that was fouled off for a strike. Braden Gross started the game, and then he was subbed out for John Michael Creech, and now he is re-entering the game. And we have a couple of defensive substitutions here for Latta as well. Now on the mound is going to be moving over from first base, number 13, Brian Barry. It's the 0-1 pitch. He squares around to bunt, and that's going to be low for a strike. Caden Lee replaces Brian Barry at first. So basically the pitcher and the first baseman have just switched. And then in defensively for Adrian McDonald is going to be number 14, Nick Mendez. And that pitch is high for ball 2. That brings count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Brian Bird is bringing some heat out there. And that's in for a ball. I apologize, I called him Bird. That is Brian Barry. Brian Barry is bringing the heat out there. And that's a cross for a strike. That's going to be a 3-2 count. As Barry is working hard to get back in this one. Latta really needs to have a quick inning here. They've taken a lot of momentum back in this game. And that's going to be low for a ball. That's going to be ball 4 as Braden Gross makes his way over to first. And that's going to flip the lineup over as the third baseman, number 45, Rylan Bolus, comes to the plate. Rylan so far has hit a double and walked. His favorite song is Shoota by Playboy Cardi. And other than baseball, he enjoys playing football and basketball. Barry steps off the mound. We have a timeout called by the third base coach. He's going to take his time walking over his batter. He's going to talk to Rylan a little bit here. Make sure he's all good. Maybe tell him what to do. If I were that coach, I would tell him to lay down a bunt here. Leadoff hitter usually has a pretty decent ability to bunt, so I have a feeling that's exactly what that coach said. He said, I might give you a dummy sign, but I want you to lay down a bunt here. Rylan now digs back in. Barry looks on, gets his sign. He's checking the runner at first. Pitch on the way. And that runner goes. That throw down. Ryan Parrott put the throw right there, and the shortstop just couldn't quite wrangle it in. If the shortstop would have been able to catch that, that runner may have been out. But as it is, Braden Gross now has a stolen base. And we have a runner on second with no outs. That pitch is fouled off straight back for a strike. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike here to Rylan Bolus. In his free time, Rylan enjoys sports as his hobby. And that black bird is really still just flying around. I think he's just landing on top of people. Someone's feeding that bird. That bird just flew away with food in its mouth. And that pitch is across for a strike. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'm sorry, I'm talking about this bird a lot, but there's someone feeding that bird. I am telling you, that bird just flew away with food in his mouth. And that is a fantastic curveball from Brian Barry for out number 1. I think Rylan Bolus was completely fooled on that one. I don't blame him. I would have been fooled too. And after that strikeout, that brings up the shortstop, number 4, Austin Rodis. First pitch to Rodis is in there for a ball. A little low for ball 1. So far in the game, Austin Rodis has grounded out to the third baseman and singled. His favorite pro baseball team is the Red Sox. And that pitch is fouled off for strike one. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. His favorite song is Darn Straight. And other than baseball, he enjoys playing basketball. His hobbies include baseball.
Coney County's not going down without a fight. They need 3 runs here, so they need.
And the 1-1 pitch. Curveball in there for a strike. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. When he grows up, he wants to be a MLB player. As he digs into the plate, he is ready to hit. He's ready to swing the bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another curveball. And that's going to be swung on for strike 3. And that brings 2 outs in the inning.
Next up to bat, the pitcher.
And that brings the pitcher, number 3, Trey Briscoe. And Trey Briscoe has had a great day on the mound here. Pulling over from his game from yesterday, he has remained on the mound, and he really only made that 1 mistake on the 2-run home run there. And that ball is outside. It brings count to 1 ball and no strikes. In his free time, Trey Briscoe enjoys playing MLB The Show. That ball is fouled back for strike 1. That brings the count to 1-1. His favorite team is the Cubs. So I wonder if he plays MLB The Show as the Cubs. And if that's the case, he's got to be a really good player if he wants to win any games, because unfortunately the Cubs are not very good. When he grows up, he wants to be an MLB player. And that swung on and missed for strike 2. Brian Berry has really found his groove here in the top of the 6th. After he made that walk to Braden Gross, he has really found it. If I had to guess, he's going to throw an off-speed pitch here. It's probably going to be a curveball. That's been his go-to here. No, he throws the fastball right by him. That's going to be strike 3 for the 3rd out. Latta takes a lot of momentum back into the dugout. They're still down 3-2 as we go to the next half inning on the Beaufort County Channel. And we're back as that pitch is fouled off. It looked like Ryan Parrott really wanted to hold off there on that pitch, but couldn't quite do it. That umpire runs out and talks to the pitcher here. And that is a foul ball. I was wondering if that umpire went out there and told him that he wasn't ready, but I think he did point the ball in play there. So that is a strike. That is a strike, foul ball. And I think Ryan Parrott really just realized that that wasn't a pitch he wanted to swing at, tried to pull back, and just couldn't quite get it there. And that's going to bring the count to no balls and 1 strike. Ryan Parrott is the guy you want up at the plate here. He's the leadoff man. And that's in on the inside part of the plate for a strike, and that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Parrott is your leadoff guy, and he's been pretty solid this tournament. That ball is fouled off. Heads up over on field 3. And that lands safely. No one is hurt by that ball, even though it almost hit 2 people there. Thankfully, everyone was moved out of the way, as game 2 is concluded over there, and we're going to have a check-in on the score
5-2 Sumter.
as Sumter beats Oconee County 5-2, and that ball is hit on a line, bounces to the shortstop, and he fires it over to first for the out. And that's going to be out number 1. That was a very well-hit ball, but a very good play by the shortstop. Unfortunately for Latta, all the shortstop had to do was stand there and field the ball, and it was right on target on the throw. And it's out number 1 as Ryan Parrott is retired. That brings up Caden Lee. That first pitch is fouled off. Very good swing by Caden Lee there, but it's fouled off for strike 1. That brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. Caden Lee is now your first baseman for Latta. And that pitch is fouled off. Heads up again over on field 2. And that ball lands safely again. No one injured. That one fell in the patch of grass over there behind field 2 and rolled to a stop. Someone picked it up. We'd like to have that ball back, please. And that brings count to 0-2. And that pitch is high and outside. Catcher can't quite rein that one in. And that brings count to 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Caden Lee. Caden Lee so far has grounded out to the second baseman and flown out to the shortstop. That pitch is low and outside for ball 2. That was a great take by Caden Lee. And that brings the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. As we are passing this home run ball around for Logan Bird, we're all signing it. And that's going to be presented to him after the game. I'm not sure you're going to have a live feed of that or not, but that is what we will be doing out here as that pitch is outside for ball 3. That was another well-located pitch by Trey Briscoe, but it was just off the plate for ball 3. That brings the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that is strike 3. Not quite sure what Caden Lee was looking for there, but he did not find it. And that's going to be 2 outs as the shortstop, Reese Rouse, comes up to the plate here. And so far, Reese has walked and struck out, I believe. As that ball is lifted into the left side, the left fielder moves in. And what an interesting play by the left fielder. He wanted to dive from the beginning, and I think he stumbled a little bit, fell to his knees, and dove off of his knees to make the grab. And that's going to be the 3rd out. Mohawk's going to come up to the plate here in the top of the 7th, leading 3-2. This is Beaufort County Channel. Welcome back here as we begin the top of the 7th inning. Brian Berry still on mound for Latta, and Thomas Donadio is here at the plate. And that pitch is inside for a ball. And I was informed this morning that instead of not having a favorite movie, Thomas Donadio's favorite movie is actually John Wick. He's a big fan of Keanu Reeves. And that's high and outside for a ball. That brings the count to 2 balls and no strikes. That pitch is grounded on the right side. A well-hit ball. Right fielder fields it, and Thomas is going to stay at first with a leadoff single there for Thomas Donadio. And that's going to bring up the DH, number 22, KJ Griffin. KJ's last time up walked and advanced to second on a bunt. Now with a runner on first, Mohawk still has the lead 3-2. So it'll be interesting to see what the coach calls here. He might put on a hit and run here. I have a feeling that he's going to call a hit and run. So let's see if Thomas Donadio takes off from first. Pickoff to first is not successful. KJ steps out of the box. He already got his sign from his coach down at third. So I assume even though he picked off, the play is going to remain the same. And that's run. And KJ gave a half-hearted swing at a pitch right down the middle. And that was indeed a hit and run. So I will say that I was correct on that call. And Ryan Parrott made a very interesting move. I think he realized that Thomas was going to have the base stolen either way and tried to hold back the throw. He ended up spiking the ball almost right near where the mound was. Shortstop fielded the ball, and that is a successful stolen base for Thomas Donadio. It brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. And that pitch is a little high for ball 1. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike as KJ digs back into the plate here. And if I were coach, I'd probably be calling a bunt. And that ball is chopped foul down the first base line. First base coach does not have to move. First base coach has a very interesting look. He's got a feather sticking out of his hat. But he does not call it macaroni, as Yankee Doodle would do. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. That brings the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the pitch on the way. Beautiful curveball for strike 3. And that really has been Brian Barry's bread and butter here. As the on-deck circle, kid on the on-deck circle gets some coaching from the stands here. Talks to someone through the fence. And now he walks over to the third base coach. Umpire beckons him to the plate, or else it's going to be a timeout called. So to avoid that, he beckons him to the plate to get the game going. We've got a runner on second, 1 out, and Cullen Seitler up to bat. Brian Barry working hard on the mound out there to keep this game to a 1-run lead for Mohawk. And now we have an intentional walk. They're going to intentionally walk Cullen Seitler here so they can throw to Judd DeSell. And if you remember yesterday, before the rain delay, they intentionally walked the 3-hole hitter, Trey Briscoe, in order to throw to the 4-hole hitter. And that paid off for them yesterday. And let's see if they get the same results today. And that's going to be a swing and a miss for strike 1 to Judd DeSell, who's playing left field today for Mohawk. Judd DeSell, if you remember, his favorite artist is the Mexican city Lil Tecca. And that ball is fouled off behind the net here for strike number 2. And that brings the count to no balls and 2 strikes. With an 0-2 count here, runner on first and second. I wonder what Brian Barry's going to throw. If it were me, I'd be throwing a curveball in the dirt, try and get him to chase. And he just runs the fastball by him on the inside, blew it right past Judd DeSell for strike number 3.
Next up to bat, the second baseman.
And that's going to bring up the second baseman, number 18, Luke Jervey. And that's going to be a runner on first and second with 2 outs following that strikeout by Judd DeSell. Luke Jervey digs in. Brian Barry squares around to bunt, and that ball is high. That brings the count to 1 ball and no strikes. There is no one holding the runner on at second here, as the second baseman is playing very far to the right, and he is playing quite shallow as well. That pitch is in there for strike one. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, honestly, with the way that Brian Berry has been throwing that curveball, I would throw a curveball here with 1-1 count. I like that idea, especially because I feel like batter is going to be expecting a fastball here. That is exactly what he does. Throws a curveball, and that pays off. Ground ball straight to the pitcher. Tosses it to first, and that's going to get him out of the jam as Latta comes to bat in the bottom of the 7th. This is the Beaufort County Channel. Welcome back here. Brian Berry up to the plate. First pitch is low for ball 1. Brian Berry has thrown absolutely lights out on the mound since he's come in. And that was phenomenal coaching by Latta to walk that guy, and the pitch sequence there was just great. And that comes across strike 1. That brings the count to 1 ball and 1 strike to Brian Berry. This here's the bottom of the 7th, so this is the last chance Latta has to score. And that is held back for a ball. He tried to check his swing there and checked it successfully. Catcher couldn't quite wrangle that one in. That brings the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Latta is the home team here, so this is the bottom of the 7th. If they do not score at least 1 run here, the ball game will be over. That ball is fouled off straight back for strike 2. It looked like Brian Berry was right on that pitch, but he may have pulled his front shoulder out just a little bit, and I think that's why he didn't quite connect with it. He's very eager to hit up there, which is what you want as a coach. You want your hitters to be eager, but you want them to be patient. You want them to be patiently eager. Trey Briscoe still on the mound, working with a 2-2 count here. No one out, bottom of the 7th inning. Tries the off-speed, and that's just inside for ball 3. That brings the count full. Brian Berry steps back in. The payoff pitch. Fouled off. Brian Berry does a great job staying alive. The ball was a little high, but it was off-speed, so it was moving down into the zone. That was a great at-bat there. Great at-bat going for Brian Berry here. Another payoff pitch. And that's lifted up on the right side. First baseman making a move, and that's going to drop in foul territory as Brian Berry stays alive. And we're going to make the nice walk back to the plate. The umpire is going to put a new ball in play. He puts his hand right into Trey Briscoe's glove with the ball. A nice, shiny, white, dry baseball. As the wet ball comes back in. Never mind, it's not that wet. Trey Briscoe elects to keep the ball that he was throwing before and gives the new ball back to the umpire. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. A lot of emotions, a lot of yelling going on out there. As there's one out here. The bottom of the 7th. Mohawk leads 3-2. And that's going to bring up number 16, J.P. Bly here. J.P. Bly has lined out to the shortstop and grounded out to the shortstop as the first pitch there is fouled straight back into the fence for strike one. That brings the count to no balls and 1 strike. JP's favorite artist is Lil Baby. And that ball is hit on the ground hard to the shortstop. Shortstop comes up, fields it, fires to first, and he is safe. The first baseman can't quite pick the ball out of the dirt. And J.P. Bly is going to be aboard safely. He was cruising down the line there. He was cruising down the line there, and shortstop threw it a little bit low, and first baseman just couldn't quite dig it out of the dirt as J.P. Bly is aboard safely. And we have a timeout called by the coach. He's going to come out, and it looks like we're going to have a pitching change. We'll have that info back with you. We're going to take a break here on the Beaufort County Channel. Welcome back to Field 3 here as we have a runner on first and some drama building here in the bottom of the 7th. Heath Mew up to the plate, getting a start at second base. Looks like he's wiping his hands dry. It is quite wet out there, ladies and gentlemen. There is a lot of moisture in the air. He has to wipe his gloves clean, make sure he has good grip on that bat. And that is low for ball 1. That's going to bring the count to 1 ball and 1 strike. And just to remind you, we have J.P. Bly on first, who is quite fast. And that ball is swung on and missed, and it looks like Mew is still having some trouble with his batting gloves there. He's going to just take them off, throw them off to the dugout. Heath, let me give you some advice, man. Go no batting gloves, grab a little bit of chalk, maybe a little bit of dirt, rub your hands together, and you're good to go with that condensation that's in the air, man. You'll be right as rain. Excuse the terrible pun there. We've got a 1-2 count here. Runner on first, pickoff move. JP dives back safely. 3-2 ball game, bottom of the 7th. Potential for something great to happen here. And that is high for a ball. A great job by Mew to not swing, not chasing that high pitch there. That's going to bring the count to 2-2. And if I were this coach, I'd almost think about sending J.P. Bly to steal here. And he does not. And that pitch is swung on and missed by Heath Mew. And that's going to be out number 2.
Third baseman, number
And that's going to bring up the third baseman,
Logan
Logan Bird, who, as I've said, is having a fantastic tournament here. If you remember earlier, he went and hit an absolute bomb to left center field his last at-bat. Logan Bird has been a fan favorite, and they are going to intentionally walk him. That's a pretty smart move by the coach there for Mohawk. He does not want Logan Bird to win this game for him. And so that's going to bring up the right fielder, number 9, Zach Lane. I really can't blame the coach for walking Logan Bird there. That's a very intimidating batter to face, especially given his record in this tournament so far. And the first pitch is high and outside. The runner takes off to third, and he is out. He is out at third. And that's going to be the ball game, ladies and gentlemen. The catcher fires a strike down to third and cuts down J.P. Bly trying to steal third. Mohawk wins the game 3-2. We'll see them back in action on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And we will see Latta again tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining us on the Beaufort County Channel.